It happened at 3:59 Friday afternoon. It was unthinkable. Elise Stefanik, the North Country's powerful congresswoman, one of the most powerful Republicans in the country, was stepping aside. No governor's race, not even a return to Congress. What happened? We try to piece together Stefanik's decision to step off the political stage, at least for now. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, December 22nd. First up, the superintendent of the Salmon River School District has been placed on leave after admitting that students were put in windowless wooden boxes for timeout. In a statement, Governor Kathy Hochul described the situation as, quote, alarming and entirely unacceptable. Hochul called on the state education department to investigate decisions made by the leadership at Salmon River. The school district near the Canadian border has about 1,300 students. 60% of them are Native. The St. Regis Mohawk tribe has also called for an independent investigation into the situation. Along with placing the superintendent on leave, the Salmon River School Board voted last week to put the principal and the district's special education director on leave as well. New York energy regulators say the state must take an all-of-the-above approach to expanding New York's power grid in the near future. They also say the state will not meet a controversial emissions reduction goal by 2030. Amy Feiereisel has more.
The state's latest energy plan was approved last week by NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. The over 1,000-page document lays out a roadmap to 2040. It says the future of the state's electrical grid depends on using renewable energies like solar and wind, while continuing to rely on gas and developing nuclear power. The plan lays out a challenging road ahead, which includes soaring power needs, rapidly developing technologies, and current political headwinds, like President Trump's tariffs and his push to deprioritize future and existing renewable energy projects. Crucially, it says the state will not meet a milestone goal mandated in 2019, which is to cut emissions by 40% by 2030. That drew sharp criticism from many clean energy advocates who accused Governor Kathy Hochul of backsliding on the state's goals. The plan has received praise from many North Country Republicans who say the plan prioritizes stability and practicality. Assemblyman Matt Simpson said he was encouraged that, quote, the state is finally confronting the harsh realities of our energy transition. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik brought a seismic shift to North Country politics Friday. She said she's dropping her campaign for governor and she won't seek re-election here in the 21st Congressional District. There is a lot to analyze here. So I joined Monica Sandreski on Northern Light this morning to talk through it all.
So Congresswoman Stefanik was running an aggressive campaign for governor. She was attacking Governor Hochul multiple times a day, filling our inboxes with press releases. What happened?
Yeah, it was a real shocker on Friday. Unfortunately, we can't ask Stefanik herself what happened. She's refused to talk with NCPR for years. But there's been a ton of national reporting on this over the weekend that I've been reading, and we've learned some things personal and political about Stefanik. Here's something new, for example. She told New York Magazine she almost didn't run for Congress last year because she wanted to spend more time with her 4-year-old son. So it appears political life was weighing on her, and that was the main reason she gave for her exit. But she also told the magazine, "My gut tells me this is not the right political time," referring to what would have been a bruising primary battle against Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. And here, Monica, I think is a huge point. It must have been a crushing blow that President Donald Trump, who she has been so loyal to, declined to endorse her for governor. You know, Trump was asked about her and Blakeman with Stefanik standing right next to him at an Oval Office ceremony just last week honoring the 1980 Miracle on Ice hockey team. Here's what he said.
She's got a little competition and with a very good Republican, but she's a great Republican. So we'll see what happens. But Elise is respected by everybody, and we appreciate it.
The New York Times called it a punch in the gut. Fox News, Wall Street Journal all said that that was a real turning point. Now, over the weekend, less than a day after Stefanik announced her withdrawal from the race, President Trump announced his endorsement of Blakeman.
Well, let's go back to the Trump loyalty part. Stefanik famously calls herself ultra MAGA, but she wasn't always that way. Remind us of how she entered the North Country political scene.
Well, I met her on the streets of Watertown during her first campaign in early 2014. It was just her and a young aide just kind of going door to door. And she was a moderate then. When Trump first ran for president the following year, she wouldn't even say his name, calling him just the Republican nominee. She attacked him for his alleged assaults against women. But then everything changed around 2018, 2019. She became one of Trump's fiercest defenders during his first impeachment. She repeated his false claims that the 2020 election was stolen. She voted against certifying the results in the House. She defended the January 6 attackers who ravaged the Capitol. She spread a conspiracy theory called the Great Replacement, that Jews and immigrants are taking over the country. Her language even changed, over the top, bombastic, name-calling, just like Trump. In short, she transformed into a far-right conservative, one of Trump's staunchest supporters.
Well, and it seemed like that political move was going to pay off. She rose to a leadership position in the House, and then Trump nominated her to become the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations.
Yeah, and this is where her political fortunes began to change. Stefanik had already done a farewell tour to the North Country when Trump suddenly pulled that nomination. He didn't want to lose Stefanik's vote in the GOP slim House majority. And then that's when she pivoted to running for governor. And in the end, her loyalty to Trump wasn't enough to get his endorsement and avoid a Republican primary against Blakeman. Meanwhile, a recent Siena poll found that she was down 19 points to Governor Kathy Hochul, and so Stefanik called it quits.
So this is giant news in North Country politics. Yeah. What have her allies and supporters said here?
They've said all the right things, praising her for her leadership and service, saying that she made the right decision for her. For example, Assemblyman Robert Smullen, who represents the Central Adirondacks and is running for her seat in Congress, praised Stefanik as a strong conservative leader and a tireless advocate. He said he respected her decision to put family first. I think it's important to remember, Monica, that this leaves a huge political vacuum in the North Country conservative world. Stefanik has been very popular across this region. She won all her races by double-digit margins. We've reported she was known for good constituent services. At a very young age, she had become the leader of the GOP here in the North Country and statewide, really. She said Friday that she's serving out her term. So this is important. Stefanik still has a lot to say here. She has a campaign war chest of like $12 million. House Speaker Mike Johnson still needs her vote in the slim House majority. She'll be powerful and unpredictable through 2026.
Meanwhile, since she was running for governor, the race is already on for the 21st district seat that she represents. What's going on there?
It's really early still. So far, both parties will have primaries. On the Republican side, I mentioned Smullen. There's also Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino. For Democrats, it's St. Lawrence County dairy farmer Blake Gendabine, South Glens Falls native Dylan Hewitt, also Stuart Amorial, owner of the Pickled Pig in Lake Placid. So that's all going to sort itself out in 2026. We'll be reporting on it, and it'll be very interesting to see who Stefanik endorses.
Very interesting indeed. David, thanks so much for the context.
Thanks, Monica. That's Northern Light co-host Monica Sandreski and I talking this morning. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Christopher Watts of Canton and Patricia Julian of Burlington. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.